welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Carbon, okay? Now Carbon is a protocol that is being designed by the team at Banker. Now as you can see, it has its own Twitter, so it's a standalone product within the Banker ecosystem. So it's not actually like an upgrade to the current version of Banker. So those two products are standalone, they're separate in a sense. However, there will be some interaction between them in just through market interactions and so forth. But keep that in mind that this is not Banker. It's a system built by the Banker team. And perhaps, I'm not sure if in the future it will be governed by the Banker token or not. I don't know. It's still in its kind of infancy, okay? It's not a live product that's completely usable, okay? I've read through this light paper here, and it explains it quite well, and I do recommend that you verify what I'm saying. Come and read the light paper yourself. But if you don't want to, then I do have a flowchart for you to explain it. And let's go over to the flowchart and take a look at what does Carbon do for P. Okay, so here we are on the flowchart. We have dollar bill on one side and boosted bill on the other, okay? And Carbon in the middle. So Carbon's point is not to like replace or kill AMMs that are currently in place. It's a tool for individuals who want to do specific things, and it will interact with the current systems of trading that are already in place, okay? So we have dollar bill here. He's a sophisticated trader. He has USDC and ETH or any other tokens, and he wants to perform some trading. So he wants to do some buy low and sell high, basically. So if he wants to buy low and sell high, he can do this already in several places, but there are some deficiencies or some pitfalls or cons to these systems that I will talk about. So the first option he has is he can use a centralized exchange or any kind of exchange that has an order book system. So basically he can set limit orders to buy low and set limit orders to sell high, right? Now, one of the cons of this system is that he has to set individual prices. So he has to say all of these different limit orders to set all of these different prices. And then the system itself is not automated unless you have a trading bot. Now, what do I mean by that is like when you sell high, you have to go back on and set new buy lows limit orders, like unless you have a trading bot that's going to do it for you, but that has its own risk factors that you need to consider, right? Because it is giving your account to a robot, basically, right? So I'm not saying they're super dangerous, but that is something you need to consider. So it's not automated unless you use a trading bot, right? Now, on chain, we have DEXs, right? Like 1 inch, and they have limit orders on them, right? Now, this also has some considerations. Like, for example, it requires oracles, okay, to then tell keepers to perform your limit orders, to actually execute your limit orders for you. Now, anytime you ask a keeper to do something, you have to pay them or else they're not going to do it because they have to pay gas, right? And then they also want to make a profit because that's what they're there for. You have to pay them to do the work for you. So that's a consideration about using one of the on-chain limit order DEXs. Another opportunity you have is what we call a concentrated liquidity position, which I kind of also feel it's kind of like a limit order system, right? Now, concentrated liquidity is like Uniswap version 3, and it's a pretty complicated system, and I don't really want to try to explain it all here. So if you don't understand, then you'll have to do a little bit more research on that. However, basically you set a price range, like, I want all of my tokens to be sold if it goes above this price, right? And some of the benefits of this system is that the trading fees are set aside. Just like here, like when you actually sell high, then your profit is set aside, right? In here, they have trading fees, and those trading fees are set aside, and that's kind of like taking profit, but not particularly. Okay, there's a constant flow of in and out on this system. So this is very important. Now, like think of it this way. If you are asleep let's say you have a position, and like let's just say your ETH and USDC inside this pool, and while you're asleep, the price spikes outside of your range. So you've basically sold all of your tokens as it left the range for the other token, right? And then while you're sleeping, the price goes back down into range. So it has its position. It provides concentrated liquidity. You get very good trading fees from this system. However, it doesn't function as a buy high, sell low very well, because you are going to, if it goes back down inside, you might wake up and you have exactly the same amount, even though the price did spike like you expected it to spike, but it went back down. And then you did not you weren't able to take profits on your sell highs. So that's kind of the disadvantage of using this system for this purpose, right? Now, the other disadvantage is if you want to adjust your prices, you need to close the entire position and open a new one. Now, that costs a fair amount of gas, and then it's also tedious and kind of, cumbersome. If you've ever opened these positions, you would understand that. So moving on, we have Carbon, right? So Carbon has a new system where Dollar Bill will come to Carbon, and he will take his Ethereum and he will put it, and he will set the prices he wants for his Ethereum. So they call that the asymmetric, okay? And adjustable bonding curves. Okay, so the asymmetric system is that he can set his price range for his Ethereum anywhere, and he can set his USDC anywhere as well. So they have these 5 kind of examples here. So he could set dual ranges. So something like I have here, like, I want to sell my Ethereum at 2,500, anywhere between 1,500 and 2,500. And I want to buy Ethereum anywhere between 900 and 1,200. So that's kind of this system here, right? He can, just use individual lines if that's what he wants to do, or he can do a range and a line, or he can even just use one token. Like, all he wants to do is sell Ethereum at this price. He doesn't want to buy anymore. So he can set those as well. So single limit orders or single range orders, okay? Another benefit of this is the ABC, what they call the adjustable bonding curves. So these bonding curves are fully just adjustable. He can decide exactly how to make them. He can make them linear, or he can make them curved and exponential, however he pleases. So for example, he can say everywhere between 900 and 1,200, I want my USDC, $1 US of Ethereum to be bought. So $1, $1, $1, $1, $1 as it goes up, right? Or perhaps he can say, as the price goes down, I want to buy more and more and more. So he can set it exponential. So maybe here he's buying only $1, but at 900 he's buying $100 worth, right? So he can set this curve however he pleases, right? Now, another benefit of this is he can come in here and very easily just interact with the contracts and change the perimeters. So he can just adjust it to 800. And that's it. He doesn't need to unwind the whole position and reapply it. And the benefit of this is that it's quite cheap and easy and less cumbersome. It doesn't take quite as much time, and it will be much cheaper to just change a perimeter on the contract as opposed to withdraw everything and deposit it all back in with new perimeters, okay? Now, along comes Boosted Bill. He sees that Dollar Bill is willing to sell some ETH between these prices, and he sees that the price on Uniswap is maybe above 1,510 US. So he sees an opportunity for an arbitrage. So he can buy some Ethereum. So send some USDC into the contract, extract the Ethereum, and then sell it on Uniswap for a profit, or whatever he wants to do with it. He could just hodl it, or whatever he plans on doing with this Ethereum, right? Now, what happens to this USDC is 2 things. He can either take profits, he can either set aside some of it, or he can auto-compound it into the other bonding curve. So that's basically what the benefit of this is, that there's no trading bot needed. It just, this USDC is automatically added to this bonding curve down here. And that's, if you see in these little images, you see these little little refresh icons, these little arrow icons, and that's basically saying that this is a possibility where USDC can just be added to this range. So he basically can set and forget. And as long as, of course, he will have to watch the market and maybe adjust these based on the market conditions and so forth. But if it's trading sideways and just going in and out of these ranges, it's just automatically auto-compounding in that sense, okay? So the last thing I want to talk about is sandwich attacks. Now, this protocol is sandwich attack resistant. It's not proof, 100% proof, but it has resistance, okay? And basically, so I'm not going to explain 100% what a sandwich attack is, but I'll give you a small idea, okay? So Boosted Bill wants to buy some Ethereum on Uniswap. So he tells Uniswap, I want to buy it. His transaction is sent to the meme pool, and then the validators or the nodes will then see that and say, okay, let's print it to the blockchain. However, bad actors, bad node operators, they can see this and they can sandwich his attack. So they can first buy a whole bunch. They will check out his slippage tolerance, right? So they buy a whole bunch, and then his order goes through, and then they sell back. So maybe they use a flash loan, or they have some set aside money to buy and then sell back, right? However, with this system, because of the separation between these bonding curves, there is no. It's not reversible, so he doesn't have to, this bonding curve doesn't have to buy back. So if he does front run, his Boosted Bill's order, and then Boosted Bill pays a little bit extra for this, he cannot sell it back to this curve because this curve is way down here. Okay, so that's assuming that there is a big separation between them. As well, if there are curves that are overlapping, then it is possible that this can still happen, and it is also possible that he could then sell to another market and possibly still perform a sandwich attack. But it is much harder, and it will require new thoughts and new development and technology for these sandwichers to be able to perform these kinds of things. Now, I hope this has been useful and interesting. I think it's very innovative, and it's very different than what's currently in the market, and I'm excited to see if it gets adoption and use case and so forth, and allows people to leave the centralized exchanges and still perform this kind of trading strategy here on chain with these guys at Carbon and Bancor. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.